that if you're not here already, you might not be here. I know there were some folks I know that were not going to be here today. I just found that out. And so, unless they've contacted somebody and they're about to Zoom in, which is fine, we'll anticipate that they'll watch the video that I'm going to upload. Okay, so let me just make note of that. Okay, and yeah, obviously you want to check those. Okay, got these guys. These guys are all here. Okay, no, I knew McKinley as well. Is there a big IA something due for that? Chem IA due last night. I know you guys are still having those bits and dribbles and so forth coming in. Tara, we're not going to see her coming in today, do we think? I guess. I don't know. Who knows? And Sage. Okay. We'll get that all sorted out. I'll wait for official word because I think some folks might be impacted one way or another by some other stuff. Ellie, okay, that's another one that's missing. Good grief. And thank you guys all for getting your IA things in to Mrs. Holiday. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the juniors are funny because, they were working on it last semester, and a lot of them are in good shape going into this semester and so forth. And they should really have it all done, I suppose, next year. I mean, they could tweak it and so forth, but whatever work they're going to put into it, it's not going to be reflected in an increase for that. And most of them are going to benefit from it, although next year there's a fair number of them on the capstone that aren't necessarily going to be doing the second half of IB history. That's a change that North Star's made. So it's all for naught. They're like, what do I do with my great IB history IA? It's part of your wonderful experience. No, you can't sell it. Yeah, nice try. Yeah, it's all part of life's rich treasures and experiences. Yeah. So anyway, they still have to do the EE though, but that's okay. All right. Ellen, Mary, God, I'm just like, all these people. I think I knew she was going to be off doing some sporting thing. Sporting. Yes. Because that's what they do in sports. Did you do sports when you were little in South Africa? Yes, that's good. Yeah, that's good. That's right. Play rounders. They even talk about that. That's what my mom's like. She would go American baseball is like rounders. I'm like, no, it's like a little kid's game in England. Anyway, have out your, whatever you do when we do the review for the test, okay? You're going to have your notes in front of you. I can tell you this, we're not going to take too long. We don't want to drag this out because I'll go through here. Again, I've got 80 questions, and they're in groups of 4, okay? And there's a lot of detail. In fact, actually, before we do that, there was one little piece I wanted to share with you. Okay, from the last bit. I actually was surprised that we were able to finish everything. I did have a clip here of Milosevic. Jack, was Milosevic found guilty or not guilty of war crimes? He died before the thing. Speaking of, my thoughts are with the British people this morning. Yeah, Prince Philip, husband to Queen Elizabeth, father to Charles and, 2 other sons and a daughter and so forth. He died at age 99 in his sleep last night. So Britain is sad about that. I knew his health had been in a difficult position. In any event, no, it's not the Queen. She's as old as my mom, so I'm always very aware of comparing where the Queen might be with respect to my mom. I think the Queen still takes stairs without assistance and so forth, which is more than what my mom's situation is. So, but that's pretty far along. If you guys make it to your 90s, hope you're in good shape, mentally, physically, and everything else. All right, let's take a look at Milosevic. He drug this thing out for 4 years.
The prosecutor versus Slobodan Milosevic.
Mr. Milosevic, I see that you're not represented by counsel today. We understand that this is of your own choice. You do have the right, of course, to defend yourself. You also have a right to counsel, and you should consider carefully whether it's in your own best interests not to be represented.
Pause for a moment. What, based on what I told you already, makes sense as far as his legal strategy? Does he know anything about the law? Yes, he's a trained lawyer. Okay? What is his goal and objective throughout this trial? Yeah, to draw it out, yes. They can. Here is an expression that is used in the law. A lawyer who represents himself has a fool for a client. In other words, you don't have somebody taking an objective look at what is going on. Obviously, a lawyer who is a defendant, who hires a lawyer, is going to be very smart and understanding and probably, more knowledgeable than an average client, obviously. But the idea behind that is you really need to be kind of like almost sort of separated and look at everything and so forth, because otherwise it can get very, very personal. Okay? His strategy, as you're going to see here, and you can make a note of this if you haven't already, his strategy was to basically deny the jurisdiction of the International Court. In other words, saying that they have no jurisdiction over any of the things going on because this was all domestic. This was all taking place within his country, and he was the lawfully elected leader of his country. Therefore, the International Court of Justice has no jurisdiction. Try that if you're facing a traffic ticket in the courts in Idaho or so forth. Say, Your Honor, I'm not going to plead guilty or not guilty. You do not have jurisdiction and so forth. And they'll just, being really polite, I suppose, or patient, maybe they'll let you babble a little bit, and then they'll go, okay, I take that you're entering a plea of not guilty, let's move on. Okay? If you keep babbling on too much, they will issue a contempt order and have the marshal take you off and usher you to jail. Now, of course, Milosevic is already in custody, so he's going to be kind of drag this out, drag it out, drag it out. Saddam Hussein kind of did the same thing in his trial in Iraq. He tried to drag it out and use it as a forum to, give his points of view about everything. And so Hitler did the same thing, way back in the 20s in his trial. It's sometimes what they do. They use the attention to try and But basically, Milosevic was kind of trying to run out the clock. One of his grand strategies, of course, was to get into a safe place. Russia probably would have been a place that he would have been happy to have gone into for health reasons and then therefore just kind of stuck around and be monitored. But they were not. Stalling tactics that ultimately, led to him not being found guilty. It's like I asked students, was Richard Nixon impeached and removed from the presidency? Well, did he finish his second term? No! That's right. So if you quit before they kick you out, you weren't fired.
Do you want some time?
By the way, there's Carla Del Ponte, right? She was the top prosecutor in both. So she's the connecting thing, one of the connecting things between the two units that we've done for this thing. Yes?
Why are they all wearing headphones?
Why not?
I don't know.
Actually, give it a shot. Why do you suppose they're wearing headphones? And then we'll let Garrett answer. Yeah, a lot of translation and so forth. You're hearing a lot of this in English, which is very convenient because that's a widely used language. But presuming that English is their first language, they could elect to have it translated into another international group, the United Nations and so forth. They need to have like a crack team of really good translators that can very quickly translate into the headphone of the people listening. Good question, though.
To consider now whether you wish to be represented.
Yeah, one of the silliest things I ever saw in my legal career as a deputy prosecutor was one time when the judge looked out into the court and said, If anyone doesn't understand the English language, please raise your hand. It would have been more funny if it actually didn't happen that way. What's the problem with that, Jackson?
They can't raise their hand if they don't know what I'm saying.
Exactly, if you don't know what they're saying and so forth, yeah. Oops.
I consider this tribunal false tribunal and indictments false indictments. It is illegal being not appointed by UN General Assembly, so I have no need to appoint counsel to illegal organ.
Now, do you want to enter plea today, or are you asking for an adjournment to consider the matter further?
Oh, Susan,
This trial's aim is to produce false justification for the war crimes of NATO committed in Yugoslavia.
Ask you a question. Do you wish to enter your pleas today, or are you asking for adjournment to
You think they're going to get an answer?
yes, I will.
I have given you my answer.
The rules state that if an accused fails to enter a plea, then the trial chamber shall enter a plea of not guilty on his behalf. Mr. Milosevic, we treat your response as a failure to enter a plea, and we shall enter pleas of not guilty on each count on your behalf.
Oh, Susan,
As I have said, the aim of this tribunal is to justify the crimes committed in Yugoslavia. That is why this is a false tribunal.
By NATO.
An illegitimate one. I'm sorry, the microphone is not on.
Yeah. Anyway, so you got a lot of that over the course of 4 years, delays, non-responses, and various different things. And, you know, it's not like in this country, criminal trials have to be wrapped up fairly quickly. You have a right to a speedy trial, and so that's translated over the years to be basically kind of 1 year, unless you, the defendant, want to extend it a little bit and so forth. The prosecution has 1 year. That thing dragged out for quite some time. Okay? Yeah, question. From the time of the entry of the plea. So if a crime has been committed and we don't know who has done it, or the person is fled somewhere, then they call that tolling. And so basically, it's like it's still there, it's still waiting for you. Like Edward Snowden, would he face criminal charges if he came to the United States? Yeah. Okay, but he's in Russia right now, I believe, Edward Snowden. So anyway. Once he was, if he ever was in custody of the United States of America, then as soon as he pled not guilty, then the clock would start running. But I mean, this thing, it could go on and on and on and on, and it did. It went all the way till he died. It's tricky. You have to get like an agreement among the various different parties. I can't give you a really specific thing. One of the first times we actually had war crimes tribunals was after World War II, right? And the winners basically, put the losers and their war crimes, Japanese, Germans for the most part, on trial. And they had to come up with an agreement among themselves as to what the rules were going to be and kind of so forth. So they relied a lot on kind of the traditions and things that they were doing in their own countries. But, there's variances between those countries. So it's not an easy answer, but that's why this is an interesting unit, because they were using some of those same processes and trying to come up with them. Were they very efficient? I think the answer we saw in Rwanda was not very. I mean, it's a pretty expensive thing, and they weren't able to handle not nearly close to all of the cases in Rwanda. Mostly that was left up to the Rwandans themselves to handle that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, when that cartoon was made. In fact, I was actually looking in the news. There was some violence going on in Darfur, in the western part of Sudan. Yeah, and some of those things are going on. It's like, oh my gosh, seriously? Really? There's fighting going on in the streets of northern Ireland. And I'm like, oh my gosh, really? Things have been fairly calm there for quite some time, but... Shall we start with a review? Let's get through the review, and then we'll get into the training for paper one. Okay, so this is going to be the review. We'll give you sample questions. You can look at all the things and so forth if you're stuck, and I'm not surprised if you're going to get stuck and so forth on these. Okay, Jackson, you've got you've got nothing on. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I figured most of the time when I see somebody with a thing in there, it's for their convenience. That they're not like going, rocking out onto something else. Okay, Rodrigo, do you want to go first, or do you want to choose somebody? Okay, you can go first. I am. I am. Yep. So for the people who aren't here, they're going to be able to watch this, which will help prepare them before going into the exam, which you all are going to be going into on Wednesday morning of next week. Okay? All right, so here we go. Kings, and I've got all kinds of kings. In fact, I've got some Rwandan kings. You need to know some of the Rwandan kings. Rodrigo, though I want you to know, give me the name of the Belgian monarch. The Belgian monarch that gained control of Rwanda after the Germans lost it, having lost World War I. They had all their African possessions taken away, and it was given to Belgium. Who was the guy in charge of Belgium at that time? Okay, and here's the deal, of course, and this is going to move things along very, very quickly, and no problem with this. In fact, this was like, you guys are going to be missing McKinley because she's got like a photographic memory of a lot of these things and so forth. But in any event, to move it along very quickly, if you know what the answer is, raise your hand. That way we can go a little bit quickly. Oh, you got it. Go for it. He's the German one, okay? He's the German one that lost possession. Who was the Belgian leader that ended up gaining control? And he already had control of the Congo. And he used it as like, it's Leopold II. There we go. All right, who goes next? Okay, Quinn. All right, acronyms. I got two sections of acronyms. Acronyms. Good one. Give me the acronym in Rwanda of the Tutsi rebel force, which is ultimately successful. That's correct. Very good. Okay, Quinn, who goes? Trenton, give me the name of Hutu Power, the militia, the ones that were scraping their machetes on the ground. Interahamwe, very good. All right, nice job. Who goes next? Yeah. Oh, this is a lovely section. This is hard, okay? I've got like 4 names. Okay, it's a good thing this is not like a fill-in-the-blank thing, okay? These are all African names. Yeah, I guess here's maybe one of the easier ones, okay? Give me the name of the Rwandan president who died in 1994 in his plane being shot down from the air, being the event that triggered, although I guess it was planned already, honestly, triggered the genocidal activities in 1994. Give it a shot. Spell the first 4 letters of the last name, and that's kind of what I was going on. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, sometimes I was referring to him when I was going through, because I stumble over it too. President Habi. Okay, juvenile, Habi Mama. Okay, got that. Okay, that's the one. Jack, who goes? Julian, okay. Place names. Places are very, very important. Let's give you an easy one. Give me the name of the hotel that was used for refugees in Rwanda in 1994. And don't say Hotel Rwanda. No, that's the name of the film about it.
I would love to say that, but...
See if you can pronounce it in a proper Belgian French way. Mm-hmm. Raise your hand if you know what the answer is. A lot of people don't know that because you heard it said many times during the course of the movie. I'm calling on you to answer the question. Hotel Mikoline. Very good. All right, who goes next? Landon. Give me the name of the man. They actually gave him a different name in the movie Hotel Rwanda, but this is going to be the United Nations, the general from Canada who was in charge of United Nations operations in Rwanda. I don't think his wife was named Juliet, although that would be rather interesting. Yep, General Dallier, Romeo Dallier. Okay, who goes next? Ashton.
Oh, I got a fun one for you. More African names.
Okay, I've got another African name section.
So forth. This woman.
Oh, she bad. She bad. She was the Minister of Women and Family. During the genocide, he took charge of identifying girls to be sent over to Hutu militia to be raped and, yeah, that one. Yeah, but pretty good. Yeah. Well, apologies to anyone who's just like stupid Americans don't know how to pronounce African names. Pauline. Yeah, Pauline. Look in your notes and so forth. And it is nice because, like, you look at that big chunk in each packet, and you got all those different terms and so forth. Know all of them. Okay? Know all of them, and you'll do well on the matching section question. I think some people may have learned some of that. I think there's probably a fair number that know how to speak French. Arguably, maybe a little bit more maybe know how to speak English just because it's, but I might be wrong on that. There might be more that will speak French. Okay? It's kind of like if you go to, Vietnam and other places that the French had controlled. There's a fair number of people that would, because it makes sense. Okay? All right, go to the last one. Ashton, I think you did, right? Who goes next? Daniel. All right, here we go. Give me a location, all right? Give me a location. If you were a Tutsi refugee during the early years of independence for Rwanda and you're like, wow, the Hutus are in charge and life is not going really well for us here, where was the main destination, location of Tutsi refugees from which they operated and ultimately launched an attack or several attacks against Rwanda? What's that? He's just going through a list of African countries. Zambia is incorrect. Tanzania is also incorrect. Uganda is correct. Okay, Uganda is correct. Just to the north, okay? All right, Daniel goes. Back to Ashton. All right. Wow. Okay. Okay. I think I might have that one. The next time you guys come in. Yeah, so that's Wednesday. Yeah, I'm going to double check that one. Okay. Okay, got some more African names. All right, give me the name of a hero. This is a hero. This is a captain in the United Nations military. He was from Senegal, and during the course of the genocide, he was able to save thousands as he moved them from various dangerous areas to safer areas. What was the name of that man? I think we covered him on the very last day that we did the Rwanda unit. And you needed to have watched the little video clip that was part of that documentary. That was okay? I'd say so, yeah. I mean, they're not, the clips that I selected from are fairly short. They kind of help tell the story. We're running out of time. Okay? We got a hand up here, Ashton, in case. Mbaye Diagne, I think, or however you pronounce that. Okay, that was one of the last names that was listed in your notes on Rwanda. Okay, from the Senegal. He was ultimately killed by a mortar shell. I don't know if that was intentional because, anyway, but he did die. Ashton, who goes? Come on, keep going. Quinn? Okay, Quinn. Let's go with this one. What is the language spoken in Rwanda? That was covered very, very early on. So Hutus, Tutsis, the Twa, not that there are very many of them, the language spoken in Rwanda. And it has Rwanda in the name of the language. Did you get it? Close. There's something in there before it. You find it? Oh, come on. It starts with a K, right? Ashton, go ahead. Yeah, the Kenya, Rwanda. Yeah, very good. Okay, Quinn, who goes? Garrett, give me the name of these people who are living in Yugoslavia, and they didn't really, these are one of the only ones that really didn't have like a national territory. Another name for the gypsies. Roma, very good. Okay? Roma, not Rona. That's something different. That's what you guys all get to deal with. Okay? Called Roma. All right, Garrett, who goes? Jacob, you are nominated to answer this question of this location. Give me the location where, let me see. This is a good one. You don't like the good ones? All right, I can ask you. Okay. All right, we'll just give you this one. The Serbs lost to the Turks in 1389, on June 28, 1389, at this particular battlefield location, also called the Field of Blackbirds. What's it also referred to as? Yep, that's right. Very good. Okay. Who goes next? Jackson, give me the name of a location where during the Bosnian fight in the 1990s, Serbs rounded up young men and boys and massacred Bosniaks. That what was the village? Okay. It was at the village, right? So don't put Meridian Village. That's not an option. That would be really bad. It's kind of like I just went to go see a movie, you know? So anybody put your hand up if you can identify that place? It's actually interesting. Here's a clue. The name of the village has kind of got the word Serb in it already, although it's not so much a Serbian village as it was mostly a Bosnian village. Nobody's got their hand up for that? We got a hand up over here. Now he's going to try to pronounce it. Go for it. Srebrenica is right. Yeah, close. Yeah, very good. Okay. All right, Jackson, who goes? Quinn, give me the name of the acronym for the group of NATO soldiers that is given responsibility in Kosovo after the fighting is over. So that'll be near the end of your notes on Kosovo. 4-letter acronym. The first letter has Kosovo. It stands for Kosovo. Therefore, it is a K. And it has 4 letters in it. We got hands up here if you want to, go then say it. Well, you can, keep the drama going, or you can call on somebody. Okay. Who are you calling on?
Well, I didn't really want to name it. I thought it was well, they're integrated into the military.
Yep. K4, yep. K4. All right. When who goes? KFOR. Kosovo Force. Like DEFCON, Defense Condition. Sometimes it's it stands for one of the letters. It's the military. Sometimes it stands for part of the word. Take your pick. Okay, Quinn, who goes? Melody, give me the name of Gandhi. The Gandhi in Kosovo. The one who was more pacifist in his approach. That's correct. Ibram Magova. Very good. All right, who goes next? Who? Trenton. All right, give me the name of the United States general head of the NATO efforts in Kosovo. And he also ended up didn't handle the situation very well, but that's okay. We'll give him a pass, maybe. I don't know. Kind of. He's the guy that when the Russians went and took control of the airport, he's like, let's get him. And the British guy was like, I'll bring a bottle of whiskey and we'll get to the same result, which is that the Russians move along. Wesley Clark, very good. Okay, who goes? Landon. Okay, give me the name of this man. He was a dictator, but he kept things relatively calm in Yugoslavia from the time that he took charge at the end of World War II until the time that he died in the early 80s. Who was this dictator who kept a lid on national sentiments within his country? And he's got a little dog named after Dorothy's dog from The Wizard of Oz. Just kidding. Really, you don't know? What's that? The partisan leader, yes. Tito, yes. What is Dorothy's dog's name? Seriously, you guys don't know? Toto, yes, Toto, yeah. Yeah, and there was a band named, a rock band named Toto. Anyway. All right, Landon, who goes?
Julian.
Julian. The Bosnian fight
Was concluded after an agreement was reached between the parties.
of course, the United States and NATO allied
Bombed the Serbs into submission. Where was that Bosnian
agreement reached whereby the ethnic cleansing, sadly, was the results were put in place. The Serbs on one side and then the Bosniaks on the other. Well, you should have watched the video that we did afterwards. Okay. We can call somebody. Dayton, Ohio is right. Dayton, Ohio, known for car plants and peace agreements. All right. Julian, who goes next? Ashton, give me the name of the place in Yugoslavia that first left and gained their full independence in 1991 after a very brief war, a 10-day war. Basically, the Serb forces were like, whatever, they can have it. Slovenia is right. Good. Ashton, who goes?
Let's go with
Jackson. The name of the superpower that tried to dominate Yugoslavia but failed. Even tried to assassinate Tito on several occasions but failed. Even though they were fellow communists. Yeah, the Soviet Union. Okay? Jackson, who goes? We'll do one more round through. And we're doing pretty good. Trenton. All right, give me the name of the country. Ooh, this is kind of interesting. Give me the name of the country that the Italians actually did gain control of in 1939. Surprising. In 1939, they gained control of this, and then they used it as a launching point to try and take Greece and Yugoslavia. No, actually, it's not. It's a Muslim one. Found somebody. We've got a bunch of hands up here.
Albania, right?
Albania. Okay. All right, who goes? Jack, give me the name of the place, former Yugoslavia, that declared independence in 2008. The United States is like, yep, you're independent. Russia's like, no, I don't think so. (2008). It is Kosovo, yeah, it is Kosovo. Yep, Jack, who goes? Quinn, all right, give me the name of the location where the Albanian Kosovars and the Serbs were told, you have to come here, and we're going to have an agreement here, and if the Serbs don't like it, we're going to bomb the heck out of them. It was in France. That's good. We're very good. Okay, Quinn, who goes? Rodrigo. Give me the name of this guy. He was a Bosnian Serb leader and war criminal who ultimately was captured in spite of his really cool Santa Claus disguise with a heavy white beard, and ultimately was tried and convicted. This is not Milosevic, but this would have been a Bosnian Serb leader who was working in conjunction with Milosevic during the fighting going on in Bosnia. No. Yeah, he's a Kosovar Albanian leader. Okay. There's a lot of names to go through between now and the test. Okay, Jacob, go for it. Not bad. Radovan Karadzic. Yeah, something like that. Very good. Okay. Rodrigo, who goes? Julian. Who gave approval to United States forces to bomb Serb forces, not only in Bosnia, but as well later in Kosovo? Seriously. In the 1990s, who, as commander-in-chief, gave approval to the United States military hitting the Serb forces? I did not have military positive relations with the Serbs. Bill Clinton, very good. All right. It's terrible I had to do that, Chloe. I feel icky. All right, Julian, who goes? Melody, give me the name of the man who's not the Gandhi guy. He's from Kosovo, and he was more like, yeah, let's get this thing done militarily. Okay, he was the head of the Kosovo militant group. And we actually heard somebody say his name earlier, incorrectly to one of the questions. Hashim Thaçi, or something close to that pronunciation. Okay. All right. Melody goes. Daniel. He has a name, Melody. Call me by my name. Daniel, here is your question. All right. Who were these militant advocates for independence in Kosovo? He was, Hashim Thaçi was part of that group. Daniel. You can call him something. I think Ashton's got his hand up. He's just like aching to give the answer. Or he's at least enthusiastic. What were the three letters, the acronym, and the UCK is how you would do it if you were using the Cyrillic? No, I'm not even sure about that, to be honest. Would that be the UCK? The what? KLA, did you say? KLA is okay. Well done. All right, let's move on. Daniel, would you like to call on somebody by name in the class among your fellow seniors who you've come to know so well over the years? That person, yeah. Melody's just like turning pink. Yes, Daniel. Who are you going to call on? She did. You're being like Slobodan Milosevic. Give me an answer. Who is going to go next? Melody. All right, back at you, Melody. All right, Melody. Give me the name of the location where Kosovar students protested. And they're like, we're going to protest about bad food and about bad this and about bad that. What was the location in Kosovo where Kosovo students protested? It's actually the biggest city in Kosovo. Pristina, very good. All right, who goes next? Garrett, okay? Garrett, give me the name of the location. Let me make sure I want to get this right for you. Within Serbia, this is a autonomous region within Serbia, not Kosovo, because they're going to be trying to break free, but within Serbia in the northern part. What is the name of the autonomous region there? You can check your map. I can see it right there. Some of you guys have got your map that we had for that part of the unit. You can see it quite easily there. Okay? This means peace. It also looks like what letter? V. V for victory and V for? Very good, Vojvodina. Okay, very good. Okay, who goes next? Melody, again. Melody. Melody's sharp here. You know, steel, sharp and steel. There we go. Give me the name of the Muslims. Give me the name of at least one of the Muslim groups within Yugoslavia. Besides the Kosovars. Oh, I already gave you that one. The Albanians are just outside of Yugoslavia. What's the only remaining one in Yugoslavia that are Muslim? Macedonians are Greek Orthodox. Incorrect. Who else was Muslim within Yugoslavia? And very much a part of the fighting that took place in Bosnia. Croatians are Catholic. There were some, quite a few of them in Bosnia, as well as Serb Bosnians who were Orthodox. And then who are the Muslim ones? Bosniaks, exactly. Okay. Melody, who goes? Jacob. Here we go. Let's get this one. Who was the name of the woman who was Prime Minister of Rwanda at the moment in time that the genocide occurred? She was a moderate, and even though she had Belgian UN protectors, they were all killed, and she was killed along with her husband, although her kids did survive. If you get her first name, that works out really well, because the last name is got a lot of letters. Who's the prime minister who was killed in Rwanda at the beginning of the genocide? In Rwanda. We got a hand up. Agatha Yu. Yes, she's got a very long name. Agatha. Yes, Agatha. Okay. All right, Jacob goes. You don't see it on there? Okay, it's on the back. It will be on the back there, all in the midst of the names and so forth. Do you see it now? It is a very long name. Okay, who goes next, Jacob? Yes. Kosovars? Yeah, Kosovar. And they're Muslim too. Kosovars and Albanians are very, very close and similar with respect to that. Because sometimes they're referred to as Kosovar Albanians living in Kosovo. Question? Yes, go. Okay, Jacob goes. Trenton. Here we go. Trenton. What was the second, at the time of the genocide, what was the second largest ethnic group in Rwanda? Tutsis, right, yeah. Okay. Who goes next? Garrett, okay. Give me the country where the infamous Black Hawk Down incident occurred, where the United States troops tried to, yes, exactly, tried to take out a warlord in Mogadishu. Very good. Okay, Garrett, who goes? Melody. Okay. Give me the name of the man who was the Rwanda Chief of Staff in the Ministry of Defense, who took charge in 1994 and ultimately is going to be held to account for war crimes that took place during the time of the genocide. Okay? He was left holding the bag, as it were, among the people. Okay? So he was one of the key people behind, arguably, the events and a lot of the killing going on. His initials sound like tuberculosis. That's the one. Okay, very good. All right, Melody, who goes? Jack, give me the name of the leader of France during the time of this Rwandan genocide and so forth. Critics of what was going on were like, you're too close to the Hutu that are in power and so forth. You need to be doing a little bit more. Sometimes people refer to him as Mitterhamwe, as in they were like, seriously, dude? You need to do a little bit more than just get your own people out of the country. Who was the president of France during that particular time? Okay. If he was listening to the radio, he would not listen to AM, he would listen to FM.
His name was Francois Mitterrand.
Francios. Francois?
No,
No.
Yes, it is Francois Mitterrand. Okay, Francios. Oh, that is painful. That is
I have a
painful.
question real quick.
Landon, yes.
I did not catch the Prime Minister's name.
The Prime Minister who was killed,
Yeah.
her name was Agathe. Anyway, on the handout, page 2, third line. There you go. Got that? Okay, who goes next? We'll do a few more of these, and then we'll call it. Who goes next, Landon?
Oh, I'm going? Okay. Rigo.
Rodrigo. Okay, you'll need to know some of the locations of where Tutsis were killed, but we'll give you a more positive location. This is where the peace accords dealing with Rwanda were reached in 1993, although they ultimately failed to prevent the war. It's in Tanzania. What is the city in Tanzania where they were, and in fact, the president of Rwanda was flying back from Tanzania when his plane was shot down. Mm-hmm. He does. Berlin? No, that's way too early. This would be on page, Melody? Arusha in Tanzania, second line from the bottom of page 1. Okay, Rodrigo, who goes? Bounces off Melody and hits that person. Oh, you got a shield now. Rodrigo, here's your question. All right, give me the name of this man. He won. He was the leader of the winners in the conflict in Rwanda, ultimately, as it ended in 1994. He was the leader of the Tutsi rebels, the RPF. Oh, that guy. And in soccer, his initials would refer to what happens if somebody gives a foul and you get a free shot at the goal. No. Busy Manga? No. His initials are the same as penalty kick. PK. You can call somebody. We got a couple of hands up here. Yep, Paul Kagame. Okay. Rodrigo, who goes? Okay, Quinn. All right, Quinn goes. Quinn, in Rwanda, much of the justice that ultimately was meted out afterwards was not done by the international tribunals. What was the name of the community courts that were set up in Rwanda to handle most of the cases? Gacaca. Yeah, I know. It doesn't have a CH, but that's how you pronounce it. Okay? All right, question. You know what? If I were you and you're not really positive that you're going to get a lot of the big names and so forth on there, you might want to refer to them by a title. Okay? So, yeah, no, that is problematic. It's the same thing with anything. If you're not really sure of the exact date, go with the decade. If you're not sure of the exact decade, go with the century. If you can't be more precise than that, probably you should maybe just avoid it altogether, rather than put something like vastly wrong. Okay? Yeah. All right. You had the last one, right? Quinn, who goes? Jackson, here we go. Jackson, if you were to tune in to Hutu Hate Radio, what is the call letters for Hutu Hate Radio in Rwanda? That was coordinating a lot of the roadblocks and attacks and so forth on the Tutsis during the genocidal period, and actually building up a lot of hate even before that. This is the RTLM radio. Stay by your radios. My gosh. One more question we're going to do. Jackson, who gets the last one?
Quinn gets one. No, I'm just joking.
It'll bounce off of Quinn, I can tell you that much. Yeah. Ashton. All right, Ashton. Give me the name of the very last Rwandan... Actually, no. Here, give me the name of the Rwandan king, that the Belgians were like, we don't really like you, and we're going to put your son in power. Yeah. The Rwandan kings, the Tutsi kings that were sort of like, they were almost like puppet kings. They were the Belgians, and before that, the Germans had used them to help administer the country. No, it's way before that. It's way earlier in your notes. This is way early in the notes. Confessions. When you were falling asleep, or you're sort of like doing one of these? No, not even close. Not Mutari the Third. Mutari the Third was the one who came in. Was there? Yeah, Mutari the Third was the Rwandan king beginning in 1931. The Rwandan king that was replaced by Belgium with his son was Yuhi the Fifth. Exactly. Yeah. No. So they're right in there. So get some of those Rwandan kings and so forth lined up on that. Okay. All right. Good. Let me give you some materials now to prepare you. We actually got through. What's that? Yeah, this is. I'm going to give you guys some IB materials and so forth. Well, hello. Here we go. Okay. 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 You guys still turning in IAs and stuff this week? Which ones? Math IA? Anything else? Not everyone. No, I know you guys have different math classes. The science ones? No? Chemistry was yesterday? Okay. This part I'm going to go over, this is actually going to go over fairly quickly. Oh my gosh. Caffeine? What's caffeine? It's just something. It's just something that has something floating around in it. I have no idea what it does. It's just something. Okay. So yeah, Tara, we just finished the review for the test that you guys are going to take on Wednesday. It's being recorded, so you can watch that. Okay, let me walk you through this. Some of this material I think I've given to you already. Wasn't sure, and I thought, what the heck, I'll just run out some more paper. Have it fresh in case you have misplaced it and so forth. As you go into the IB exams, so our attention now is turning to the IB exams. Fair enough. What are the IB history exams going to be for you? Well, there's going to be paper 1, paper 2, paper 3. You've already got the IA. That's already been submitted. Okay? And by the way, I think I mentioned to you, and you guys will know this, all of them were being submitted, the whole thing. So they're going to actually look at your individual IA and give it a grade. So they could care less, I suppose, what I think of it, but I think I've given an assessment that is going to be pretty fair, close to what ultimately you're going to be receiving on that. It's kind of, yeah, I mean, and it's kind of like, and it's a mixed bag this year because some parts of the world, they're just going to be based in it. Lana, are you having fun? Ashton? Okay. Some parts of the world, they're just going to be basing it on the IA. They're not, the students aren't going to be sitting down for the, yeah, so it's kind of like, without any big, announcement and so forth, it's like, just send them all in. I'm like, I don't mind do that. I mean, even before that, I think all the TOK papers were going in, all the extended essays were going in. I'm like, what the heck? As long as you can find some people, around the world that can sit down with and read through all the IAs, that's great. And as long as they're fair and balanced and so forth. And I think they've been pretty good. I don't know. I don't know. I'm most familiar with as things affect. You can answer that. How many of you guys have not had to submit an IA physically, electronically to Mrs. Holliday? Well, you have to do it to the teachers, and the teachers are going to read it through it and give it a grade. Yeah. You've been submitting it electronically to them? Okay. Yeah. Because I guess in that respect, I'm old school because I liked having the thing originally like printed, and then of course I had to tell all of you, okay, submit it to me electronically, take your name out, and then you send that to Miss Holliday at the same time. Okay. My sense is that it's pretty much all across the board because of that. All right. So you look on the front, paper 1. You can see right there. You're actually going to see on the day of paper 1, that 60-minute exam, there will be a bunch of things having to do with military leaders. I didn't choose that one. Conquest and impact. That goes way back when. And I didn't choose that one. The move to global war. No, I didn't do that one. Rights and protests.
I just put a little note there. Okay?
Ashton, it's possible with the two choices. One of them is apartheid in South Africa as a civil rights movement and so forth, that whole thing going on there. The other one was the U.S. Civil Rights Movement, which we covered in the 10th grade, which is also a key part of a paper 3 topic, the United States Civil Rights. If you want to, go for it. Knock yourself out. But I think you guys are going to all be prepared for the conflict and intervention. And Ashton, what is the 2 possible areas that are going to be covered in the conflict and intervention paper 1? One starts with an R. Very good. The other one starts with a K. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. And I threw in the Balkans and so forth in there because that's kind of like a 20th century war, which is part of paper 1, and it folded in very nicely on that one. Okay? So we will get your training on paper 1. Notice that. Here's the sweet thing. It's not that hard to do a paper 1. Okay? You've got the material fresh in your brains and so forth. What you need to know going in there is not too hard. You just need to pay attention and don't mess it up. You should be able to do this quite well, and it's worth 20 points. And the feedback that I've gotten as in the scores from students in previous years is paper 1 scores are high. So for 20% of your IB grade overall, it's easy to get a handle on what you need to do for a paper 1 thing. And it's nice that it's also the most recent unit that we've done. It should be fairly fresh. Okay? And, as we'll see when we do the training on that, it's not too crazy difficult to actually pull that off. All right, so you can see, let's see, yeah, there we go. 10th grade government. If you flip over to the next page, flip over, and you can see there you've got the case study, the United States versus apartheid South Africa, not covered, so, mostly what you have right here, then on page 3, which is also listed as page 22. Do you see page 22 at the bottom there? There is the prescribed subject 5. And you'll notice, if you look at kind of how I have taught the Rwanda case study, the Kosovo case study, we've covered all of those key elements in the course of teaching that to you over the last, couple, 3 weeks. Okay? So those are the things you're going to need to know in there. But frankly, other than a 20-minute essay that you're going to be writing, 40 minutes of it is just doing kind of straight, that's a pretty simple question. I can answer that. The origin, the purpose, the value, the limitation. Yeah. Tell me about it. Question? You're doing paper 3 as well. Yep. Paper 1 hasn't been shorted. That's shortened. It's still 1 hour. Paper 2, instead of 2 essays, it's 1 essay. So instead of an hour and a half, it's 45 minutes. Paper 3, instead of 3 essays, for 2.5 hours, it's just 2 essays for an hour and a half. Okay? Yeah, and they're going to put the same thing in effect for next year's seniors, which is great because, I didn't announce to you, I guess it doesn't matter. Next year's seniors, I'll be here for them. I'm going to take them across the finish line. And then that's it. You too. I hope you get enough sleep. At the right times. It would really suck if your boss came in and like, Ashton, wake up. And you're like, what's this pink slip? Anyway, that would suck. All right, here we go. Let's look over to page 23. This is the paper 2. Okay, paper 2. As you can see, one question. This will be pretty straightforward. You just pick one question